Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love exploring the fascinating and sometimes awkward world of family history, you're in for a treat today.
A woman was touching her breast while I gave her a hug. I don't remember.
We're diving into 20 awkward moments on finding your roots that will have you laughing, cringing, and maybe even gasping in shock.
To me wasn't my blood.
But before we dig in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content about history, ancestry, and the incredible stories that shape who we are. Let's get started. 20. Nora ODonnell's grandmother's citizenship revoked.
This evening news and think her grandfather was an undocumented immigrant.
CBS News anchor Nora O'Donnell uncovered a surprising piece of her family's past involving her grandmother, Mary Monaghan. After immigrating to the US from Ireland at the age of 23, Monaghan built a new life and eventually became a naturalized citizen. However, her citizenship was later revoked, not for any violent crime or act of treason, but because of a small lie. Monaghan had falsely claimed she was unmarried to protect her husband, O'Donnell's grandfather, who was still an undocumented immigrant at the time. This loving fib led to her losing her citizenship, a discovery that made O'Donnell rethink her perception of her grandmother's character and the lengths she went to for her family.
Ireland all by herself to come to America because her family needed money.
19. Sammy Hagar or Sammy Belcher. When Van Halen's lead singer Sammy Hagar appeared on Finding Your Roots, he uncovered some surprising truths, but none as perplexing as this one. The show's researchers found an 1850 census document showing that Hagar's great-great-grandmother, Elizabeth, was raising her children alone. Strangely, her husband was alive and living with his mother in a nearby county. To solve this puzzle, they tested Hagar's DNA and discovered he had no biological ties to the Hagar family.
It means at my age,
Right.
But if I was a young man, if I was a 7, 8-year-old, a teenager.
Instead, he was genetically connected to 27 men with the last name Belcher. Host Henry Louis Gates Jr. suggested that Elizabeth might have had an affair, leading her husband to leave and live with his mother. 18. A legal dispute in John Waters' family.
And they are bankrupt. They are bankrupt in policy, bankrupt in credit.
Bitter family disputes are nothing new, affecting everyone from royalty to everyday individuals. In the season 7 premiere of Finding Your Roots, filmmaker John Waters discovered a conflict within his own family history. After the death of her husband, Waters' great-grandmother, Bertha Whittaker, found herself in court facing off against her mother-in-law, Mary, over custody of Bertha's young son, Clifford. The case was fueled by typical family tensions, including money matters. Mary claimed that Bertha had an ungovernable temper and lacked the means to properly raise her child.
People are supposed to be elevated above all this. So, of course, the political idea, political patronage, I know people.
However, the court sided with Bertha, granting her custody of Clifford and even awarding her a significant portion of the family fortune. It's a gripping twist worthy of a John Waters film. 17. Lavar Burton learns of his white ancestor. When you delve into your family tree, the discoveries you make can be quite surprising, and not always in a positive way. Actor and TV host Lavar Burton knows this firsthand. He rose to prominence for his portrayal of Kunta Kinte, the enslaved protagonist in the groundbreaking 1977 miniseries Roots.
Reality has shifted.
Yeah, because you thought all of these attributes you got from your mom.
From my mom.
Yeah.
During his own journey of exploring his ancestry, Burton uncovered some startling revelations. His lineage traces back to a white farmer named James Henry Dixon. To complicate matters further, Burton learned that Dixon had served with the Confederate Army during the American Civil War, a fact that left him feeling uneasy and shocked. Given Burton's strong association with African American history and representation, this discovery felt particularly jarring. However, despite the discomfort of these findings, Burton managed to find a silver lining.
Speaker at the ASCD Symposium on Supporting Students in the Early Grades.
He acknowledged that understanding this aspect of his heritage could serve as a conversation starter, helping to bridge gaps in his discussions with white people in America. By confronting this unexpected part of his lineage, Burton hopes to foster greater dialogue about race and history. 16. Neil Patrick Harris reacts to his ancestors' tragic fate. Long before the infamous Salem witch trials of the late 17th century, accusations of witchcraft were rampant across Europe, particularly targeting women. One such woman was Neil Patrick Harris's 12th great-grandmother, Gertrude Stuell. Living in 16th century Germany, Stuell faced grave accusations of using witchcraft to enchant her neighbours' livestock, leading to their deaths. She was ultimately put on trial, where the proceedings took a tragic turn. Stuell was found guilty of practicing witchcraft and sentenced to death.
Like, she wasn't really a witch, and that there was a miscommunication and this angry man.
You might expect such a grim chapter in family history to elicit a somber response, but surprisingly, Harris seemed almost excited by the revelation of his ancestors' fate. He reacted with a mix of intrigue and fascination at the idea of Gertrude being burned at the stake, a reaction that some might find unsettling. Even more striking was Harris's attempt to connect Stuell's accusations of black magic to his own passion for magic and illusion, suggesting a kind of legacy that ties his performance art to the dark history of witchcraft. His response highlights the complexity of familial legacies, where tragedy can intertwine with personal interests in unexpected ways.
Trude wanted to do the same to the calf as she had done to the little piglets.
15. Larry David's secretive mother.
Why don't you think you ever heard about any of your ancestors?
No, nobody told me anything.
It can be astonishing how little we know about our own family histories. And for comedian Larry David, this reality became all too clear during his appearance on the show. Eager to learn more about his mother, Rose, who was known for being notoriously secretive, David was taken aback by what the researchers uncovered. As they delved into historical records, they discovered a document revealing that his grandmother had a daughter named Regina. This revelation left David puzzled. He had never heard of an Aunt Regina and was left wondering if she had died, changed her name, or simply vanished from the family narrative. The mystery deepened when the truth finally came to light. David's mother, Rose, was actually born Regina. This was a fact he had been completely unaware of, and it raised many questions about why she had chosen to change her name. Whatever her reasons for the name change, she took that secret to her grave, leaving her son utterly confused and intrigued about the hidden aspects of his family history.
Gold is superfine.
Right. That is your grandmother, Sarah.
This revelation not only highlights the often unexplored complexities within family dynamics, but also sheds light on the personal stories that can shape our identities.
Yeah, so it led to a lot of ill will.
14. A hidden relationship in Chiara's ancestry.
Your biological great-great-grandfather was white.
That's crazy.
In the season 10 premiere of Finding Your Roots, singer Chiara uncovered a shocking family secret involving her great-great-grandmother, Emily Redding. Through a DNA test, Chiara was shown to be biologically connected to Redding and her son, Willie Head, but not to Willie's presumed father, Nathan. The discovery didn't end there. Chiara's DNA results also linked her to several white individuals, raising more questions about her ancestry. After further investigation, the show's researchers revealed that Willie's actual father was not Nathan, but a white man named Walker Lafayette Head. Interestingly, Walker and Nathan had lived near each other at the time of Willie's conception, adding more layers to the mystery. Whether Emily Redding and Walker Head's relationship was consensual remains unclear, but Chiara believed it was. However, considering the societal power dynamics of the time, many might find it hard to agree, given the historical context of relationships between black women and white men during that era. This discovery shed new light on Chiaras' ancestry, revealing a complex and potentially troubling chapter of her family's history.
Was living. So if you go back in time and see that, Nathan, no, don't go there.
Nathan said, I'm going there.
Yeah.
13. Sunny Hostin's Spanish roots.
A lot more sense now that she refused to go back. I mean, I invited her.
TV host Sunny Hostin always believed she had a clear understanding of her heritage. Born in 1968 to a Puerto Rican mother and an African-American father, she had long assumed that half of her ancestry was Puerto Rican. However, when Hostin appeared on Finding Your Roots in February 2024, she was in for a surprising revelation. Through DNA testing and historical research, Hostin discovered that only 7% of her ancestry was tied to the indigenous people of Puerto Rico. Instead, much of her lineage traced back to a Spanish merchant, a man who most likely participated in the transatlantic slave trade. This shocking revelation clashed with Hostin's personal and political beliefs, especially given her strong advocacy for racial and social justice. The idea that her ancestors might have been complicit in such atrocities left her feeling a mix of shock and disappointment.
But other than that, no. I mean, I've been there, but I didn't know the roots went back that far.
Despite the emotional impact of this discovery, Hostin acknowledged that it enriched her understanding of her family's complex history. While it didn't alter her core values or change how she viewed herself, it provided her with a broader perspective on the interconnectedness of ancestry, identity, and the uncomfortable truths that sometimes come with exploring the past. 12. LL Cool J's biological grandparents.
It was the end of one chapter of my life as I know it and the beginning of a new one.
Imagine discovering that you're adopted, not through a family conversation, but years after your parents have passed away, and on national television. That's precisely what happened to rapper LL Cool J and his mother, Andrea Griffith, during their appearance on Finding Your Roots. Growing up, LL was raised by his maternal grandparents after his parents split up, and they were a huge support system for him, especially when it came to his musical ambitions. However, there was one secret they kept hidden. His mother was not their biological child. Even Andrea herself had no idea, learning this shocking truth for the first time on the show. The revelation was so sensitive that host Henry Louis Gates Jr. felt compelled to break the news privately to LL before filming continued. The discovery added a whole new layer to LL Cool J's family history, making him and his mother confront something they had never expected. While undoubtedly a difficult moment, it also highlighted the unpredictable nature of digging into one's roots and the deep emotions that can emerge when untold family stories come to light. 11. Ben Affleck controversy.
Don't remember it, but I absolutely apologize for it. I certainly don't think she's lying or making it up.
Discovering that your ancestors owned slaves can be an unsettling and deeply embarrassing revelation. For actor Ben Affleck, the weight of this truth was so heavy that it pushed him to take drastic measures. When Affleck appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2014, he learned that his maternal ancestor, Benjamin Cole, had been a slave owner in Georgia. This revelation left him deeply uncomfortable, and rather than confronting it publicly, Affleck took steps to keep it from airing. He successfully lobbied Henry Louis Gates Jr. and the show's producers to omit this information from the broadcast episode, believing it would tarnish his public image. However, Affleck's efforts to suppress the truth came to light during the infamous Sony Pictures hack later that year. Emails from the hack revealed his request to hide the slave-owning ancestor, sparking widespread controversy. The scandal was a turning point for both Affleck and the show, which faced criticism for yielding to a celebrity's request to conceal history. Finding Your Roots was temporarily suspended, and the incident raised questions about transparency in such genealogical programs. Affleck later issued a public apology, acknowledging his mistake and expressing regret for attempting to cover up the uncomfortable truth. Despite the fallout, the show returned after the suspension, continuing its mission of uncovering the full scope of family histories, however complicated or painful they might be. 10. Laura Linney's felonious ancestors.
That is the passenger list from the ship on which your ancestors sailed from 1768.
The British practice of sending convicts to Australia during the 18th and 19th centuries is fairly well known. But what may come as a surprise is that before Australia, America was the primary destination for British prisoners. This historical tidbit certainly shocked actress Laura Linney when she appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2019. During the episode, Linney discovered that her fifth great-grandfather, William Linney, had been convicted in England for receiving stolen goods and was transported to Virginia in 1768 as punishment. While learning that an ancestor was sent to America as a convict might be unsettling to some, Linney took the revelation in stride. With her characteristic grace, she found humor in the situation, laughing off the less-than-glamorous discovery about her family's past. This unexpected twist in her ancestry showed how even the most illustrious family trees can have roots in some truly surprising places. 9. Soledad O'Brien's ancestor falls on hard times.
Who were knocking over shops in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yeah.
Laura Linney wasn't the only celebrity to uncover a criminal past in her family tree. In another episode of Finding Your Roots, veteran broadcast journalist Soledad O'Brien discovered that her third great-grandmother, Lilias Whiteman, had also walked on the wrong side of the law. Host Henry Louis Gates Jr. presented O'Brien with a prison register from 19th century Scotland, revealing that a 41-year-old Whiteman had been arrested for robbery, accompanied by a group of teenage boys. The surprising discovery led Gates and O'Brien to speculate that Whiteman may have been the leader of a gang of young thieves in Edinburgh, a theory that initially embarrassed O'Brien. However, as they dug deeper into Whiteman's life and the circumstances that might have driven her to crime, O'Brien's feelings began to shift. They uncovered that economic hardship was likely the true culprit, pushing Whiteman into a life of crime to survive. The revelation gave O'Brien a more empathetic view of her ancestor, transforming what was at first a mortifying discovery into one of understanding and compassion. 8. Not Julia Roberts. The name Julia Roberts is known around the globe, but what if we told you it's technically not her biological surname? The Oscar-winning actress had always believed she descended from Willis Roberts, her great-great-grandfather.
Was married, but his mother lived close to your great-great-grandmother.
However, when Finding Your Roots dug into her genealogy, they uncovered a significant discrepancy. Julia's great-grandfather, John, was born over a decade after Willis passed away, making it impossible for him to be Julia's biological ancestor. Through DNA analysis, the show traced her lineage to a man named Henry MacDonald Mitchell Jr., a married man who lived only a few miles from Willis Roberts' widow, Rhoda. This revelation meant that Julia's last name wasn't truly Roberts by bloodline. However, despite the biological twist, we think it's safe to say that Julia Roberts has a much catchier ring than Julia Mitchell. 7. Issa Rae's free ancestors.
So Ahmad was white?
You got it. Your fourth great-grandfather was a white man.
During the era of slavery, enslaved individuals were often excluded from official census records. However, when actress and producer Issa Rae appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2021, she uncovered something rare: documents identifying her third great-grandfather, Dawson Charbonnet, by name. The reason for this was remarkable. Charbonnet's mother, Melite, had been freed by her owner, a black man, who allowed her to live independently. But the story didn't end there. Ray also learned that Charbonnet's father was a white man who maintained a secret relationship with Mélite while having a separate family of his own. The tangled web of her family's history left Ray feeling as if she were living out a television drama. And who could blame her? It's the kind of complex backstory that would fit right into one of her insecure storylines. 6. Gail Kings European ancestry. Gail King's family harbored a long-held secret concerning her maternal grandmother, Emma Brown.
Wow. More than 91,000 Americans were wounded.
It was revealed that Brown was the product of a white father and a black mother, a fact seemingly concealed out of shame, at least according to King. The genealogists at Finding Your Roots were able to trace King's ancestry back to Robert Elliott Copes, a white man from South Carolina and Emma Brown's grandfather. This discovery unveiled King's European ancestry, which comprises over 30% of her genetic makeup. However, when the results of this DNA analysis were revealed to her at the end of the episode, King didn't seem to be very pleased with them.
Of humor. So to know that he had all of that in his background, I think is very, very interesting to me.
5. Angela Davis descended from white settlers.
As slaves. But of course, I didn't know who they were.
You'd be shocked to learn what some of your ancestors were up to. That probably should be the tagline for Finding Your Roots. In 2023, the show delivered yet another jaw-dropping revelation, this time to political activist Angela Davis. Throughout her lengthy career, Davis gained a fierce reputation for her unwavering advocacy for civil rights, as well as her relentless fight against structural racism.
The angry and frivolous complaints of the uncles and aunts of such children.
Hence, she was taken aback to learn that her ancestors were the complete opposite. Davis was revealed to be a direct descendant of William Brewster, one of the 102 settlers who journeyed to the colonies on the Mayflower. Just goes to show that despite sharing bloodlines, people can still differ greatly from their ancestors. 4. George R.R. Martin's grandmother's affair.
Struck you? It was a scene that haunted me. The characters seemed so real.
When George R.R. Martin appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2019, he uncovered a surprising family tale reminiscent of the sordid ones in his epic fantasy books. Martin had always believed that his Italian paternal grandfather, Louis, had abandoned his grandmother, Grace, for a younger woman. However, that notion was shattered when the show's team revealed the results of Martin's DNA test. Martin's DNA showed a quarter Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry, suggesting his true grandfather was Jewish. It was quickly surmised that it was Grace who likely cheated on Louis, which eventually pushed him away. Oh, we fully expect the next book to be chaotic. 3. The identity of Viola Davis's great-grandfather. Oscar-winning actress Viola Daviss came on Finding Your Roots, expecting to learn more about her ancestry, but she probably wasn't ready for the messy familial secrets she would uncover. Daviss learned that her grandfather, Henry Logan, had a mysterious lineage. In official documents, 2 different men had been listed as his father: Gable Logan on his Social Security application and John Young on his obituary. Although Henry's mother, Corinne, was married to Gable, historical records showed that after he came back from World War I, Gable never returned to live with Corinne. Through DNA analysis and census data, the researchers inferred that Corinne likely had an affair with her neighbor John Young, resulting in the birth of Davis's grandfather.
In Long Island, New York, and we found no evidence that he ever went back to South Carolina.
2. Catherine Hahn's ancestors move from Germany to America.
William. All right, William Lunenschloss, 42, farmer.
Our forefathers often relocated to different countries for various reasons: economic prospects, fleeing conflict, or in the case of Catherine Hahn's ancestor, eloping with their lover at the expense of family ties. In 1853, Hahn's third great-grandfather, Wilhelm Lunnenschloss, was living in Germany with his wife and 6 children. However, by 1860, Wilhelm had moved to Wisconsin, now married to a different woman named Eliza. The Finding Your Roots team dug deeper into this significant change. Through a German city directory from 1854, they found that Eliza was the daughter of Wilhelm's neighbor. This suggests that Wilhelm met Eliza there in Germany, then abandoned his family to start a new one with her in America. 1. Niecy Nash learns who her grandfather is.
Can go back and read this actual document, it still feels like a gut punch.
Hollywood actress Niecy Nash was in for a rude shock when she appeared on the 9th season of Finding Your Roots. Turns out the man Nash had always believed to be her paternal grandfather actually wasn't. Naturally, this was an incredibly surprising revelation for the actress, who now faced the challenging task of breaking this news to her father. Researchers on the show used Nash's DNA, along with that of a second cousin, to uncover the identity of her biological grandfather, a man named Frank Jackson. So how did this discrepancy occur? Well, that's the complicated part. Jackson actually lived very close to Nash's grandmother in St. Louis, so it's believed the two had an affair, which ultimately produced Nash's father. From hidden scandals to unexpected ancestry, these revelations show just how complex and fascinating our family histories can be. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.